Hey guys, what is going on? Infinite Z PvP here, and today we're going to be discussing some Star Wars The Old Republic class changes in patch notes 5.0. They are not guaranteed to be this way. They will change. They're currently being tested as we speak, but at the moment this is what their ideas are. This is what has been changed on the closed test server at the moment, which only a few select people have gotten invites to. But I'm going to talk about the classes, the buffs, the nerfs, and how this is going to affect PvP gameplay. So we'll start off with the operatives. Now, one thing that I noticed the operatives do have is a new ability called Toxic Haze, which is also called Bushwhack for Scoundrels. But what it pretty much is an AoE that drops on your feet if you're a DPSer. If you're a healer, you can cast it at 30 meters away. It lasts for 6 seconds and just does AoE damage. Take cover, crouch, and snipe have been removed from operatives and scoundrels. It sucks, I know, but BioWare are trying to do this to keep melee classes separate from range classes. We'll see how it goes. Generally, if you're a melee, you wouldn't be using ranged abilities anyway, like snipe. You wouldn't get in the cover as an operative, but we'll see how it goes. Those abilities were handy to have, especially with some other classes, but we'll get into that as we go through. We'll try and make this quick as possible. So as we go on, we've got new utilities added as well: mobile strategies, creative agent, and blow for blow. Now I'm just going to talk about one of these, or maybe two of these utilities. I won't go through them all. I will link the website with all the patch notes in the description below. And yeah, but we're just going to be talking about a few of these, so we won't take up too much time. So pretty much blow for blow, which I really like as a utility, I will be picking up as an operative, is evasion grants blow for blow, reflecting 150% of the single target tech and force damage back at the attacker while evasion is active. The damage is taken and reflected, but it's not absorbed. So pretty well, you'll take the damage still, but you will reflect it back out. The reason why you're not going to absorb it is because evasion grants you dodge. It grants you like 200% dodge, so you're not going to be taking the hits anyway. So having that 150% of tech or force damage back at the attacker, that is going to be nice and definitely up the DPS that the operative is going to be able to do and have that survivability. Yeah, it's going to be really nice. So we move on to sniper. And actually, let's just go back up. I wasn't going to pop it in here, but we will. Mobile strategies. It is a utility that the operatives get, and pretty much what it does is when you exfiltrate or roll, you are able to use overload shot. The cost of your overload shot is reduced by 100%. It is a free cost of overload shot, and it knocks target back 30 meters away. That is nice. Okay, so we'll move on to sniper. So we're going to be talking about a new ability that snipers get, and that is maim. New ability which replaces debilitate and allows you to stun the target from 10 meters away. So removing debilitate, don't need it as a ranged character. Okay, it is a melee stun. So what they're doing, removing it, replacing it with a ranged stun, and that's from 10 meters away. Shiv and overload shot has been removed. That is only for operative. Which sort of snipers were able to use Shiv and pick up the utility which grants you movement speed. Not many people did it, but if you were lacking survivability while playing the class, it was a nice handy utility to have, I suppose. So both of them are gone. No more Shiv, no more overload shot for the sniper. I go down to utilities that have been added, and one that I really liked was defensive safeguards. So when ballistic shield is activated, you gain a charge of defensive safeguards for each enemy inside your ballistic shield, which is really nice, and that's up to 4 though. So this effect lasts for 20 seconds, and each charge increases your damage reduction by 5%. In addition, while inside your ballistic shield, you heal 3% of your maximum health every second, and you are immune to being pulled or knocked back. So chuck your ballistic shield, you're not going to be getting pulled, no pushbacks, no pulls, so that's going to be really nice. I'm wondering if it's for being rooted as well, but I doubt it. I'm sure it's just being pulled and knocked back. Being rooted would be really nice as well. But I suppose you could just roll away from that if you needed to. But that's pretty much a 20% damage reduction that snipers are going to be getting, because it does stack up to 4 times. So that is nice, and it was something that a utility that I looked at and I really liked as a survivable, and that's why I really want to talk about it. But of course, go through, have a look at the utilities on the patch notes and see what ones you're going to be liking. So we've talked about, so Smuggler or Scoundrel and Gunslinger are pretty much the same. Of course, it's just the reverse. So we've talked about snipers, we've talked about snipers, we've talked about operatives, exactly the same for the Scoundrels and Gunslingers. I'm just going to be taking this from a Imperial side here, so please revert back over to patch notes if you need to. So we'll move down to Juggernauts. Now, Juggernauts, some things have been changed. I think they've definitely gotten a buff in this patch. Guardians and Jugs have definitely got when it comes to PvP gameplay. Ravage, this is now an instantly activated ability to help add more mobility to the Juggernaut. So this is going to be really nice in PvP. It's a massive buff. They won't have to stand still, and it's not going to make the Juggernaut as big of a target. Definitely when you're standing still, you are a target in PvP. Allowing the Juggernaut to move around a bit is going to make him less of a target. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. I think it's going to have to get a buff. I think it's going to have to get a nerf, in my opinion. I don't know. I think Jugs are pretty OP at the moment, and definitely flavor of the month. So this is, yeah, definitely going to be interesting, guys. And of course, with the big change in 5.0, we've got Guard is no longer has any form restricting in its use. So you don't have to be in a certain form to use Guard. You don't have to be tank form anymore to use Guard. DPSs can use Guard and still be in that form, which is not recommended. If you're not geared as tank, you will be squishy and you will go down, and you're only going to be hindering the healer, who's going to have to be healing themselves and you in an excessive amount. With some and a huge new ability for the Vengeance Discipline. It replaces Vicious Throw and has a 30-meter range. Not too sure why they needed it, why they need to replace it. I think Vicious Throw was perfectly fine for Juggernaut. Marauders and Jugs could have shared the ability. I don't really know why they had to remove it, but that's okay. It's only for Vengeance Discipline, and yeah, it's got a 30-meter range, so that's that. And of course, we've got new utilities added to the Juggernaut. There's 2 that I really like, and that's extending Raw increases your range of Force Scream to 30 meters, which is beautiful, but Force Scream deals reduced damage beyond 10 meters, but it can get a buff because additionally Force Push deals 20% more damage and grants extending Raw, allowing your next Force Scream to deal full damage regardless of the distance from the target. Now, Reckoning is another utility added to the Jugs, and that's after using Intercede, your next melee ability deals 20% additional damage. So it's nice as a tank to intercede back to the healer and to pretty well chuck out a damage, their biggest damaging move. I can't remember what it's called. And yeah, it's going to be dealing an extra 20% additional damage, which is a big FU to that DPS of taking down your healer. So we'll move on to Marauders, and again, Ravage is now instantly from Marauders, which is beautiful. I'm going to add them more mobility, which they can be squishy when you are using a Ravage in the heat of the moment in PvP. But Gore is a new ability for the Carnage Discipline. High damage ability that hinders the movement of your enemy and reduces their armor. So reducing their movement speed, reducing their armor, and you're dealing a high amount of damage. What more could you want for a Marauder? Of course, let's move down to utilities. And one that I really seem to like is Interloper, which is Force Charge grants Interloper, allowing you to activate Force Charge a second time. Interloper lasts up to 7.5 seconds and is removed if Force Charge is reused. If Interloper is not utilized by the end of the duration, Force Charge is placed on a 7.5 second cooldown. Additionally, Force Charge now builds to Fury. So we're able to jump twice. This is definitely going to add a lot of mobility to Marauders. I think we're going to be seeing a lot of good mobility playing Heartball. with some of these utilities that people might be picking up. Another one that I really liked with Marauders is Hidden Savagery. While Force Camouflage is active, you gain a charge of Hidden Savagery every 0.5 seconds. Each charge of Hidden Savagery increases the damage dealt by your next melee attack by 4%. Stacks up to 12 charges and lasts for up to 6 seconds after exiting Force Camouflage. So you're getting beaten down on, you're back out into stealth using Force Camouflage. Lasts for the whole entire time, get your stacks up, but up to 12 charges, and you are going to be dealing a massive amount of damage coming out of stealth. Yeah, it's definitely going to be something to look out for when Marauders be going stealth, because Hidden Savagery is definitely going to be something a lot of people are going to be picking up. Now, on the Guardians, so we've already talked about Juggernauts, we've already talked about Marauders, so we're just going to skip through the Guardians and the Sentinels, move on to Sorcerers and Assassins. Now there's a lot of things here when it comes to Assassins, I'm not gonna lie, but let's just start off with Sorcerers. See how we go, see if we can control our temper, because we know what's coming up. So Phase Walk has been removed from base class. Now Sorcerer exclusive. I forgot that starts off right on Sorcerer. Yeah, I'm pretty pissed, but we'll get onto that when we get onto Assassins. Crushing Darkness has been removed from base class. Sorcerer. Force Lightning being removed from base class is now Sorcerer exclusive, and Thrasher being removed from base class is now an Assassin exclusive. Okay, each advanced class is receiving a new set of utilities. Okay, so Unnatural Vigor, Unnatural Preservation increases damage reduction by 15% for 6 seconds, reduces cooldown on Natural Preservation by 5 seconds. Definitely a really nice buff to the Sorcerers in survivability terms. Yeah, I definitely think Sorcerers got buffed again, which I'm not happy about. Sorcerers have been getting buffs from day dot. They have gotten nerfed, but that's when they were crazy out of whack OP. But they're still up there as one of the biggest damage dealing classes. I'm not happy that they have received a buff, and they are some pretty big buffs. They're, you know, making another move activate instantly, and, you know, damage reduction there depending on what you want to pick up. Yeah, I don't know, it's a little bit crazy there, especially if, yeah, just a bit crazy there. But we'll move on to Assassins. Now I love my Assassins, I love my Shadows, as you all know, and we'll just go through some of this, shall we? So, Thrash now granted at level 1 as an Assassin exclusive. Lightning Charge now a passive buff. Guard now available at level 16 and no longer requires Dark Charge. Of course, we talked about this with Juggernauts. And Phase Walk removed from base class, as we said, now Sorcerer exclusive. I'm really not happy about this change. Phase Walk was a Sith Assassin and Jedi Shadow only ability before whatever patch they brought it into Sorcerers and Sage to use. I was pissed then, and now I'm pissed now that it's been removed from our class and is Sage and Sorc only. That is a dog act to do, BioWare. It was our class. Yes, we were very mobile, but that is what our class was. We were a stealth mobile class. It's not like that mobility is doing damage. It's not like it was game breaking. Phase Walk was just a really nice get out of there. Yeah, it was just decent. Operatives have that role. You know, they can do that twice. They can easily blindside enemies. We can't do that now with Phase Walk, and that is a bit disappointing. But you know, we'll just have to adapt to our gameplay. Okay, so let's talk about Reaping Strike now. New ability for the Deception Discipline. High damage single target skill on a 15-second cooldown that is usable from stealth or within a 15 seconds of landing a critical hit. It's definitely a new move that is definitely going to up the Deception spec. They are already pretty a high burst damage, but of course with all these other abilities being added to other classes, we are definitely going to be needing another ability there. It sucks that it's been added to Deception. I wish something was maybe added to Hatred, or that was ability that was going to be crossed between classes, between subclasses. That would have been really nice, but we'll see how it goes. I'm just hoping Hatred is not going to be left out within PvP. It's just not going to be viable anymore. Of course, at the moment, in my opinion, I don't know what the actual mathematical calculations are yet because I haven't ran Parsec or anything, but Hatred does give you more DPS output than what Deception Spec does at the moment, so hopefully Deception Spec does become balanced with Hatred Spec with the DPS output, but yeah, we'll see. I just hope Hatred doesn't get left behind, but yeah, we'll see how things go. So a utility that I'm really liking that's coming with the Assassins that's definitely going to help us out is a Reflect, which pretty much seems like almost every class is going to have a Reflect, which is a cheap, easy way, I suppose, to balance. But you know, yeah, I wish BioWare would put a little bit more uniqueness in classes. Giving every class pretty well a Reflect is definitely not bringing uniqueness into the game. But BioWare will do what BioWare will do. It's still going to be nice. I'm still happy that we're getting a Reflect as well, but at the same time, I wish there was a little bit of uniqueness, because in PvP everyone's just going to be picking up these Reflects. Simple as that. But let's just read through this. Reflecting 50% or 100% of the Darkness Discipline and all direct single target tech and force damage back at the attacker for 12 seconds. Does not absorb incoming damage. So we don't absorb any of the damage, we're just reflecting it back to, we're just reflecting that damage back to the enemy. Now, is it 50% if you are either in a Deception or a Hatred? It is 100% if you are rolling in the Darkness Discipline. This is really nice and is going to add a really nice play for Darkness DPSs. I do have videos up on my channel of Darkness DPS gameplay if you want to suss out what the crits are like playing Darkness. It's really good. In my opinion, Darkness is very similar and on par with the damage output that Deception have. Of course, this may change with the new ability being added that we talked about called Reaping Strike, but you know, having that 100% Darkness Reflect as well, that is definitely going to be nice to be picking up. And yeah, it could work out that you could be, it's for 12 seconds, so for 12 seconds you are going to be reflecting 100% of that force back at them. That could definitely turn the tide in a 1v1 situation. Either you attack them for 12 seconds or you don't attack them for 12 seconds. I think these Reflex have a little bit too much of a high, I think these Reflex are going for too long. You know, 12 seconds seems to be a long time in a fight to have a Reflect going, but yeah, we'll see how that goes. Remember, these aren't permanent, these could change, but yeah. So we've talked about Sorks, we've talked about Assassins now, so we're going to move on to Power Techs, and I'm glad Power Tech's getting a little bit of love at the moment, only because I want to see Power Techs and I want to see Mercs. I don't just want to see Mercs in this new patch. All we are seeing at the moment is Mercs, all we're seeing at the moment is Jugs, and chucking a few snipers in there, and with Sorks. That's all that's running in PvP at the moment. But let's hope we got it mixes it up with this patch. I don't think it will. I think we're still going to be getting our Jugs, we're still going to be getting our Mercs. But yeah, they're definitely going to be the flavour of the months here, but we'll read through Power Tech. So, Deadly Onslaught, a new ability exclusive to Power Techs, replaces Death from Above, which is now exclusive for Mercenaries. So they're just giving Power Techs a whole new AoE ability, and giving Mercenaries that Death from Above. Searing Wave, new ability exclusive to Power Techs, replaces Flamethrower, which has been removed from the game entirely. I know a lot of people are going to be sad being bound Power Tech being Mercenary Flamethrower was just, I think a lot of people I don't think a lot of people used the move. I think it was just there to use as added DPS if you needed to. It's situational. It's not a game-breaking move, but they did remove it from the game. You know, that's yeah, it's Mercs aren't going to be liking it. I know it's, you know, rest in peace to Flamethrower. You know, we love you, but yeah. So BioWare are taking it out. It's not coming back. It is gone from the game. Rest in peace. Where PowerTech's also got Shatter Slug, new ability exclusive to PowerTech, replaces Explosive Dart, which is now exclusive for Mercenaries. Interesting. I don't know why they're having to make every move separate. It really doesn't change gameplay. Roleplay wise is the only reason, but if you're going as a Power Tech or a Mercenary, I don't know why you just couldn't have an Explosive Dart either way. You know, you're a class, you only pick, the only difference between the two classes is you're picking up another gun. You know, one's still range, melee, yeah, I don't know. But BioWare are doing this is changing every ability and trying to make every class unique in their own way as much as possible. So let's move on to utilities. One that I really liked in the utilities that I'm going to read out is Pressure Overrides. Explosive Fuel grants Pressure Overrides, which increases the maximum range of Flame Burst, Magnetic Blast, Shatter Slug, Ordnance Onslaught, Head Blast, Energy Burst, Melee, and Scorch by 20 meters for 15 seconds. They're trying to say Power Techs are a melee class by making it unique to Mercenaries, but then they add a utility like this and it just turns them into a Mercenary. So I don't know what BioWare are trying to do there. That whole utility sounds like they have contradicted themselves. Definitely. Or another utility that you guys will like though is Reel and Rattle. Grapple deals kinetic damage to pull targets and causes your next Rocket Punch or Flame Fist to deal 20% more damage and stun the target for 1.5 seconds. That's nice, a little bit of extra burst, definitely. But yeah, Pressure Overrides is definitely going to be a nice utility that a lot of people are going to be picking up, I think. So moving on to the Mercenary, for all you Mercenary lovers and favour of the month players, Responsive Safeguard, new ability exclusive to Mercenary, which absorbs all single target damage, reflecting 50% of it, and heals you for 5% of your health each time an attack is absorbed. So reflects 50% of any damage and heals you for 5% of each time an attack is absorbed. There is no, I can't see a time on that. There is no timer saying how long it's going to go for. They probably haven't worked out how long they want it to go for yet, but that is healing there and you're reflecting damage. That is a really nice move for Mercenaries. I think Mercenaries are getting the biggest buff in this patch, which is sad. Mercenaries to me are very strong in PvP at the moment, so I don't know why they're getting big buffs at the moment. It's just obviously, you know, year of the Mercenary at the moment, and that's what they're really focusing on. But you know, in the next big expansion, when they're up in the level again, Mercenary is going to be having to get a nerf because they're going to be too OP. Tagging Bag, hindering a target with Electronet grants Tagging Bag, increasing your accuracy by 15% for 9 seconds. Additionally, activating Supercharged Gas reduces the cooldown of Koto Overload. That's definitely another nice utility that popped in there, a legendary utility that popped in there. But one that I really like and I really wanted to point you out, which goes well with this new ability, is Trauma Regulators. While Energy Shield is active, you generate a stack of trauma regulators. Each time you receive direct damage, stack up to 15 times. When energy shield expires, each stack of trauma regulators instantly heals you for 5% of your maximum health. Oh my god, this is OP, guys. Having responsive safeguards on, popping down trauma regulators, you are pretty well going to be taking no damage and getting up to full health. So they're pretty much giving mercenaries jug abilities to heal to full. You know, not to mention mercenaries and power techs already have that ability where if you drop below 30% health, you activate this ability and it will keep you up to 30% health. Correct me if I'm wrong, mercenary people. So they've already got that, and then they're getting responsive safeguards and they're getting trauma regulators. If the mercenaries are not happy with these buffs and they still don't think their class is survivable, then just change class, because you should be 100% survivable with this, with 21k, which in 5.0, God knows what type of damage you're going to be hitting out. But you're going to be having the burst, you are going to be having these heal ups, these shields, these reflex, not to mention a 30-meter range. If you cannot survive in PvP with mercenaries come 5.0, then switch class, because you're doing it wrong. So anyway guys, let's move on. That is it for class changes. Remember, they are not guaranteed to stay this way, they may change. But yes, that is what is happening. But before we end the video, we just want to quickly, what's happening with gear and come PvP. So to buy your gear, come 5.0, it is pretty much going to cost credits. Comms are being converted over to credits. Obviously on a ratio, you get credits per amount of comms. I'm guessing that is what's happening. I haven't actually read anything yet on this. It is floating around, but I can't actually find out where it is written, but it's definitely a rumor that is floating around. It's obviously been mentioned in a live stream, which I'll try and find the video for it. Just give me time and I'll have that up on my channel. But yeah, comms are becoming credits. Everything is gonna, armor is gonna cost you credits now, not comms. So people are gonna be a little bit broke on the fleet. There is some changes that is happening to combat training area, so stay tuned for that video as well. That'll be coming up soon after this video, as well as some armor sets for 5.0, endgame armor sets. I will have them up on my channel in that next video as well, so stay tuned for that. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share. Any thoughts, drop them below in the comment section below. I'll get back to them as soon as I can, and I hope you guys enjoy.